Welcome back to DK Sports Radio. You're listening to the Miller Lite Q&A podcast. I'm Chris Carter here with Matt Grubba, taking on all your questions and cracking open some good ones. Matt, how you doing today?
Doing good, Chris. Ready for this first one?
Let's get into it.
Let's get right to it. Frequent friend on the comments here, Tim Tomasi, has one talking about not one of our specialty sports here, but one of the big events of the weekend, the U.S. Open. And he wants to know, what are our thoughts on Phil Mickelson running up to hit the ball while it was still moving and taking a two-stroke penalty at the U.S. Open? Many in the national media are saying he should be DQ'd. Do you agree? And just for a little context around it, if anyone didn't see it, Phil Mickelson was out of contention pretty much. He was something like 14 shots off the lead. Hit a bad putt that was clearly going to it was going to hit a slope and go probably 20 feet, 30 feet past the hole. And so he just sort of hopped a little jog and ran over and hit his shot while it was still in motion, which under the rules is a two-stroke penalty, but he also managed to put his sort of rebound shot there, 6 to 8 feet from the hole, so he wasn't facing a really tough comebacker. So what are your thoughts on that whole thing?
I mean, first of all, it's obvious the old guard of golf is done. Tiger's gone, Phil's, done. I mean, I feel like, when you're that far back, part of me wanted to think, was he doing this to be silly because it didn't matter? Or what did he? I mean, it's like you have to wonder. He had to know the rule, and he had to know that he was going to get penalized.
And he admitted afterward that he knew. I mean, he thought about doing it in the past.
Right.
He said.
And it's just like, I think it might have just been a thing like, you know what? I don't feel like I want to get out of here. I don't feel like taking the time to do that. So let me just save the ball from rolling all that way, take my penalty, and get the heck up out of here. I get it. It's another one of those things. I'm just like, it's kind of silly in the first place. I don't think it's classist or anything. I mean, if you want to disqualify him, it doesn't seem like it's going to matter because he's that far back in the leaderboard. But I guess, my thing is, I don't think it's that big of a deal, especially because it wasn't like it wasn't like what was the German tennis player that used to play Serena Williams back in the day? I forget her name. It started with an H.
Justine Henin.
Thank you.
She's Belgian, I think.
Right, Belgian. Thank you. But I remember there was a time where she called time when Serena Williams was serving once during the French Open, and Serena Williams honored it and hit the ball way out of bounds to not do it, and the judge didn't see Henin call time, so she awarded Henin the point. And Serena Williams said, "Whoa, excuse me," but she's called timeout, and Henin said, "No, I didn't." That's low to me. That's when you deserve to be chastised and kicked out. But Phil Mickelson, I mean, it's like when the people say, "Oh, Mike Tomlin was evil because his foot was on the field when Jacoby Jones was trying to." If Mike Tomlin actually wanted to trip somebody, he knows that would not only get him ejected, but it would give the team an automatic touchdown. There's so many things that. It's
been a long time since the NFL had a penalty touchdown awarded.
Exactly.
That's back to like the 30s.
Right. But that's my point. Is no one does it because everyone knows what the result would be.
Right.
So you miss me with the this is a big problem. Is it something you can complain about? Sure, because we complain about everything, but I don't think it's that big a deal.
Yeah, I mean, my thought on it is, I think the thing that rubbed most people wrong about it is sort of that Mickelson after the round was pretty much remorseless about it, and even just sort of joking about it, that sort of, and I get it that maybe it's not the most ethical thing, but at the same time I have trouble with trying to DQ a guy for it, because golf has a pretty thick rule book to begin with.
Yeah.
And the rules are the rules. They're laid out there. I hear people talking about, oh, well, you could say that it was he could be DQ'd under this provision or this provision. Look, he's taking the two-stroke penalty. He's getting the consequence. He wasn't in contention. Look, I'm sure he'd get a lot of praise if after the round he had said, I shouldn't have done it, and withdrawn himself rather than but as the USGA, it would send a really bad precedent if they DQ the guy for this, and where does the bar then get set when say somebody does it unintentionally and that sort of thing. And I get it, but when the rules are already there in black and white, you can't adjust them on the fly like that. Now, if they want to go and change it and add in a provision now where if the judges
discourage people from doing it,
if the judges deem it to be an intentional breach, it's a stiffer penalty. Sure, but that's not the rule right now. I just like enforcing it how it is, and people are going to complain about it. Fine, let them complain.
That's kind of where I'm at. Thank you for the question, Tim Tomasi. We'll be right back to answer more of your questions here on the Miller Lite Q&A podcast.
Miller Lite is the original light beer, and we'll always brew it to have more taste, with only 96 calories and 3.2 carbs. Because we believe that if you compromise on taste, you can taste the compromise. Miller Lite. Hold true.
Great beer, great responsibility. 2018 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Average analysis, 12 fluid ounces. Less than 1 gram protein, 0 grams fat.
If you're one of the thousands of Western Pennsylvanians who love to get outdoors, then you need to check out this cool new website, stepoutside.org. Learn where, when, and how you can go camping, hiking, or hunting, or take part in power sports, shooting sports, or water sports in your local community or across the country at stepoutside.org, where everything you need to know is just a click away. That's stepoutside.org.
What I want from my public accounting firm is big ideas.
But I don't want to lose the personal attention.
My company needs global capabilities.
From a firm with local ownership.
And I want to work with industry experts.
Who take the time to understand my unique challenges. And that's what sets Schneider Downs apart. Expertise for the most complex business issues. With the service you need every day. To learn how our big thinking with a personal focus can help your company, visit schneiderdowns.com.
Injured in an accident? Need assistance in preserving your business's interests? Let the attorneys at Bassey, Vreeland & Associates protect your legal rights. For over 65 years, Bassey, Vreeland & Associates has been representing the citizens and businesses of southwestern Pennsylvania. With offices strategically located in Washington and Charleroi, Bassey, Vreeland & Associates can deliver results for you throughout the Pittsburgh area. Visit www.bmvlaw.com or call 724-228-7000 to see how Bassey, Vreeland & Associates can meet your legal needs. Bassey, Vreeland & Associates. We fight, we care, we win.
Welcome back to the Miller Lite Q&A podcast here on DK Sports Radio. Matt Grubba alongside Chris Carter here for our second question. And Chris, what do we got lined up here?
We have a question from our good friend Radio Wave, and Radio Wave asking a baseball question. Should Major League Baseball have the DH rule in both leagues? Matt, what do you think?
The age-old question going back. We're coming up on...
I know where I stand on this.
I was going to say, we're coming up on the 50th anniversary of that in a few years, aren't we? The DH first going in.
It's 50 years too long, Matt Grubba. The DH is a disgrace to the game of baseball. Anybody who uses it should be dishonored, and they should not be honored in this game of baseball. If you field, you hit. If you hit, you field. It is basic sports.
You're a nine-a-side man.
Get him in. Make the pitcher come up to the plate. If you're going to throw at me, I deserve the right to throw at you. That is not real baseball in my book. So to answer your question right away, no. Not only should they not put it in both leagues, they should eliminate it altogether.
I'm not going to take quite as strong a stance as Chris here is, but while I do kind of agree with him that my preference is to have pitchers hit, I'm not a DH fan necessarily. My biggest thing is I just want them to get it consistent between the two leagues at this point. I mean, we are in the era now. I mean, this isn't, the 30s, 40s, 50s. Right. You don't have guys that refuse to sign autographs in blue ink because black ink is their league's color, like with the umpire shirts. I mean, there were guys who actually did that.
Yeah,
they wouldn't sign. I mean, that's ancient history. It's a bygone day. We are in the era of interleague play. We are in the era of every game's on TV. People don't think, oh well, Pittsburgh's a National League city. No, it's a Major League Baseball city.
Yeah.
Those sorts of things are gone anymore. And so I'm going to say, as long as they get it consistent, I really wouldn't care which way they go. But it's, how we still have a sport where two halves of the same league are playing by two different sets of rules in 2018. That's the part I don't like.
It seems silly to me, and you know what? It's because the AL, they're too chicken to get rid of the DH. That's my stance on it. Thank you for the question, Radio Wave, and thank you, Matt, for being on the show.
Yeah, it's been fun.
I think you're too neutral in this situation. You need to stand up for truth, justice in the American way, and I guess it would be the national way. Because I got a pun in there.
You didn't even mean that one.
No, I did not.
But, hey, I like my leagues like I like my referees, consistent.
No, there you go. Yeah, well, good luck finding that anywhere.
Especially with umpires.
In sport, yeah. But, Matt, thank you for being on the show, and thank you for listening to the Miller Lite Q&A podcast. Stay tuned to DK Sports Radio, where we have a lot of great content coming your way.